After my MND diagnosis, I was quite shocked how nobody, family or friends, ever talked to me about how I felt about death and dying. I realised that there is just this barrier to discussing the D word. It's such a taboo.
I feel like so many of us are craving for that opportunity to just sit with people who are just talking honestly. I think it happens so rarely.
Death isn't the end, it's very much a part of life, and it's about celebrating that whilst we're here.
Working around death can bring sort of great flexibility and openness and a sort of willingness to behave in ways that benefit the wider community rather than oneself. And so I got very excited and came up with lots of ideas for different projects around death and dying. And one of them was about talking about death. And then I heard about the work of Bernard Cretas, who set up something called Café Mortel in Switzerland. And that involved talking about death in a public place with food and drink. And I just thought, that's it. And then I went on to start the Death Cafe.
Obviously some people don't want to talk about death, and that's fine, but for others that do, they find it really valuable. It throws back the spotlight on life, ironically, and lets people think about, okay, so if death's going to come, I'm still alive, what do I want to do with this amount of time that I've got left?
Everything wouldn't be as amazing as it is if it was going to last forever. So it is very much about embracing everything and talking about all of these topics which we try to avoid.
Well, that's interesting because I'm just not prepared then.
People have so many different expectations when they come to Death Cafe. I've had people say to me, okay, where are all the dying people? Or where are all the old people? Or where are all the goths? That's another one I get all the time. So it was interesting to take it to a location like a festival, which is full of 19-year-olds who are partying. They came along with an open mind, didn't know what to expect, and ended up having an amazing conversation in the middle of a festival about death. And people are always really surprised by how the conversations end up being about life, especially in that kind of environment. It was really quite enlightening.
The whole Death Cafe experience every time comes out of what the people who are attending bring with them. We don't prepare anything as facilitators. We prepare ourselves to expect anything, really.
The meetings are very informal. I've met some lovely people, and, as the saying goes, it's good to talk. Attendance at death cafes has helped remove the fear of dying, made me feel more confident, and able to talk to others about my feelings.
A lot of people keep quiet about their fear of death, for instance, you know. But when you open up and you start speaking about it, it's such a release and a relief as well, you know, to be able to do that and to see that other people also have similar fears.
I think it's sort of a magical thing about how conversations start in the cafe, because usually each group has a facilitator. So the facilitator might ask a question, people might reflect, sometimes people come with something they really want to speak about.
I wouldn't describe myself necessarily as like a spiritual person, so crystals and stuff, that's all a little bit beyond me. So there are times when I'm in the Death Cafe and I'm just opening my mind, but that's just to me, that's what I love anyway. I love having my mind, like, I love feeling my mind just being stretched.
My first Death Cafe was online. I've never been to one kind of in person, which actually in a weird way kind of made it more accessible.
We've all got a different idea of death, though, haven't we? Some people think it's the end, nothing else after. Some think they're going to heaven, and others think they're going to go on for another incarnation to learn everything they haven't learned already. So,
I think, speaking for my dad, I think, Paul, you're someone that is very at peace, and it makes you at peace knowing, or believing in your mind that death is the end.
I've had friends that have lost family members in the last, kind of 6 months, and I found it a lot less scary being like, oh, well, how did they die? I'm sorry to hear that. How are you? And just actually not seizing up and thinking, oh, like, this is a red flag. I feel actually comfortable talking about it, and that makes me feel better. I'm sure it makes them feel kind of less awkward as well. And I've had lots more conversations with other people that are comfortable about doing it, and it's a good feeling, not being scared of that, I guess.
There's not positives that have come out of COVID, but you have to try and take the positives in a negative situation. That's the way I try and live my life, is that try and learn anyway, at least from something, even if it's difficult, even if there's bad things going on. And I think as a society, we are learning now that actually we are vulnerable, we are mortal beings, and I think that will hopefully make people sort of appreciate life a little bit different, live in a more positive manner, care more about the planet.
I came to realise that we are in a society split into two halves. You've got those who have had an experience, a significant loss, and are open to talking about death, dying in their experiences, and those who haven't and very much view death as the elephant in the room.
The whole death experience in this country is very sanitised, with too much focus on palliative care and the desire to keep people alive as long as possible. Little consideration is given to the wishes and desires of that person.
At Death Cafe, people really listen to each other. There's a massive amount of empathy. People make friends in a very short time, and it really brings out the essence of what it is to be human.
Some of the conversations I've had with some of the younger members have been very, very profound, and I really felt it was wonderful that I, as an older person, could offer in some help and some support.
We don't judge each other, and that we don't try to influence each other or persuade each other. So we very rarely get into a situation where there are debates.
That spark of life that started in the womb has its limit, and we do our best with it. I think everybody does their best with their life. It is a gift.